Welcome today to Nutrition Direct's very first blog. I'm Jason Hurst and I'm here today with Richie Hunter, and we wanted to go over a topic that's kind of controversial and something that's been a disturbing trend we've been seeing in the supplement industry lately. Pre-workouts are probably the staple of most people's supplement regime, and as most of you know, C4 is probably the most advertised, the most seen, the most used pre-workout out there. And most of you have seen it at GNC, Vitamin Shop, your local supplement store. But we noticed lately in the past year or so, people have noted that they've been purchasing their C4 at Walmart and Costco or Sam's Club, especially at a really discounted price. So we wanted to take a look at that and see exactly what was, if any, if there's any differences with this C4. So we decided to take a look at this. And what we unfortunately found was the C4 being sold on Walmart and Costco is actually a completely different animal. It's a completely different product than the C4 that you've, I'm sure, seen or tried from GNC or here at Nutrition Direct or any supplement shop. First of all, the packaging is actually very similar, so I can see why people probably get confused. It's the same container, same label, has the same font, same coloring. Matter of fact, the only difference is the container is black instead of chrome, which most people may not even notice. But without a doubt, these two products look very similar. So there's no doubt that there was an aim to actually make these two versions of C4 actually appear to be one and the same. But upon looking at the ingredients panel even further, that tells the whole story of these actually are two completely different products. So there's going to be two completely different experiences with these products, and we're here to kind of go over what the differences are and what to expect from them. And actually what we found out maybe is a surprise to most of you as far as which one is the better value. I'm sure, as you can tell by looking at the side-by-side pictures that we have on the screen for you, how similar these two products look. And Richie, if you want to point out some differences and similarities, kind of explain that as to how people would be confused by these two products.
Well, basically when you're looking at them, the main difference you're going to notice, first of all, is the original C4 is in a chrome container, whereas the C4 Sport is in a black container. Now, looking at the Sport and the original label next to each other, you got the same font, same color scheme, pretty much same everything. As much they make them look as similar as possible.
Yeah, I think one of the dead giveaways though is the C4 Sport says C4 Sport on it, and the original C4, which Cellucor classifies as C4 Extreme, the text on it is pre-workout explosive energy. However, the fonts, text, and everything is actually very similar between the two. So to somebody who's not very astute or not looking for the differences, it's very kind of deceiving that this would be the same C4. The C4 Sport would be the same C4 as the C4 Extreme, as they call it, as Cellucor refers to it, that those two would be the same products. However, when you look at the supplement facts panel, that kind of tells you what the difference is between these two products. So we're comparing these two products side by side. As most of you know, with all pre-workouts, there's three key things to look at on the labels. Number one is the types of ingredients that they're using. Is it say for types of creatine, there's so many different ones out there now. Is it creatine monohydrate, creatine nitrate, creatine ethyl ester, crealkaline creatine? Certain forms are preferred to other forms, and depending on what form, you need a certain dose of those as well. Your nitric oxide, that's anything from arginine AKG, which is arginine alpha-ketoglutarate, to agmatine sulfate. Now there's a fairly new one out of the market called nitrosogen that's been actually kind of getting a lot of press lately as being pretty good. And your stimulants, we're using caffeine, taurine, 1,3-dimethylamylamine, which is, obviously, as most of you know, is really controversial right now. And the second key thing to look at is the doses of those ingredients. And again, this kind of falls back on the first key point is, what types of ingredients are there? Because depending on what type of creatine or what type of arginine AKG, you need certain minimum amounts to make them effective. But what you need to look at is how much of each one of those ingredients is in the product. Is it just a sprinkle, or is this actually a therapeutic dosage to where it's actually going to perform the function that you want it to? which also brings us to the third key point is how are the ingredients listed? And that's really going to tell you a lot about the product. If it's a proprietary blend, as most of you know, a proprietary blend is a list of those ingredients into a group, a cluster, and then it'll read off the amount of milligrams for that entire proprietary blend of ingredients. That's typically a way in the industry to sort of hide how much, not only the ingredients, but also how much they're really not putting in the product. And most times that's really how they shortchange you, and we'll actually go over that in a second. And the second type of labeling for listing the ingredients is often you'll hear most people in the industry refer to it as full disclosure label or full disclosure supplement facts panel. And what that does is it actually lists each ingredient, and then it tells you how much exactly of each ingredient there is in that product. And we've noticed a trend with some of the newer supplement companies, and especially as people get more educated, they're actually moving towards products that have a full disclosure label where people can actually see how much of those ingredients are in there. That gives you a much clearer picture of what you're paying for and how well this product's actually going to work for you. So the C4 Extreme has each ingredient individually listed. So Richie, how much creatine and nitric oxide and of course the stimulants, how does that break down?
It has 1 gram of creatine nitrate. It has 1.6 grams of beta-alanine, and it has 1 gram of nitric oxide.
So how much of those do we typically need, would you normally use to reach a therapeutic dose to make a pre-workout effective?
Well, as I said, it has 1 gram of creatine, where needed to be effective in a pre-workout, your body needs 5 grams of creatine. Beta-alanine, C4 has 1.6, you need 3 grams. And nitric oxide, you need a minimum of 3 grams, and C4 has 1.
So basically you need to take 3 to 5 scoops of this to really...
Basically, you need 3 to 5 scoops of it to get the true pre-workout effect.
The desired effect. Okay. Now remember, this is their premium C4. This is the one that you see really advertised in the magazines and stuff. And then as we move on and we look at the C4 Sport, the one found in Costco and Walmart, the ingredients are in a proprietary blend. So we can't really see what the breakdown of each one of those ingredients are. But we can take a look at, and here's how to decipher. This is a little tip to actually help you see if their proprietary blend is really smoke and mirrors or not. It says the entire proprietary blend is 5.4 grams. So this means the ingredients that are all found in this blend, which is creatine monohydrate, beta-alanine, arginine AKG, and they have a disodium phosphate, a magnesium, and a potassium in here. But for the most part, let's focus on the first 3. So again, the proprietary blend with all of this is 5.4 grams. The first ingredient, creatine, we know we need 5 grams of that alone just to be effective. Beta-alanine, we need 3 grams of that. And the arginine AKG, we need another 3 grams of that as well. So you're already looking at 11 grams of ingredients that you need to make a pre-workout work. How do you fit that into a 5.4 gram scoop? So that, again, that kind of gives you an idea. This performance blend needs to be double what it is to actually truly be effective. You're getting half a product here. Their energy blend is the next thing I want to take a look at. They have a 1.15 gram energy blend. It consists of taurine, caffeine anhydrous, pyroxidal 5-phosphate, which is vitamin B5, and methylcobalamin, which is B12. So primarily the taurine and the caffeine are what's giving you energy out of this blend. And it's important to note this kind of on a sidebar, and this is something I really wanted to point out, is a real trend that a lot of the supplement companies are taking with their pre-workouts. What most of them are doing is they're taking out the ingredients like the creatine or the arginine AKG, because those ingredients are expensive. And we know this because we have our own brand. We know how much these ingredients cost, how much the raw materials are. And by taking those out and instead adding in more stimulants like caffeine and taurine, which are very cheap. They're very cheap raw materials, are easily acquired. what it does is it makes the product less effective. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the energy blend that they have on the C4 Sport. It's 1.15 grams. Now what they're using in this blend is taurine, caffeine anhydrous, pyroxidal 5-phosphate, which is vitamin B5, and methylcobalamin. Now that's vitamin B12. So really the two main ingredients here that you're going to feel a kick from is the taurine and the caffeine, which I'm going to take a guess is most of that 1.15 grams. And this really brings me to an issue I want to point out to a lot of people. And it really didn't come obvious to me until we actually got into manufacturing our own brand and understanding the cost of goods on a lot of these products. Pre-workout, it's such a competitive market, so they're always, again, looking for a cheaper way to make the product. Well, your ingredients like your creatines, your arginine AKGs, those are expensive ingredients. So what I've seen a big shift in the industry, and I think this started with the whole Jack 3D. That was, I think, the first product that started this whole wave of these quote-unquote concentrated pre-workouts. Is, well, just that. It's concentrated with stimulants. They take out the creatine, the arginine AKG. Those ingredients are expensive. The raw materials are expensive. Instead, you add in things, the taurine, the caffeine. In case of the Jack 3D, they were using the germanium oil extract, the DMAA, 1,3-dimethylamylamine. It's kind of what made that product famous, or infamous at this point. So by doing that, you lower the cost of the product, but you increase that instant gratification of where people feel it. They, 10, 20 minutes later, they got this caffeine buzz going. But really, what is that doing to build muscle? Nothing. You get a caffeine buzz, you get all cracked out, and then you crash 15, 20, 30 minutes later, halfway through your workout. And what good does that do you? And there's nothing in there to actually build muscle because it doesn't have the creatine or the AKG. So really, these supplements become even less of a value to people buying them and using them. So it's not going to give you nearly as much gains, and you're paying a lot of money for a fancy Kool-Aid powder. Taurine is it's amino acid, but that's what they put in Red Bull. It's part of what gets you all jacked up from drinking Red Bull. So really this is just a fancy Red Bull. It's a fancy Kool-Aid. And for that fact, the C4 should cost you $2 because that's about what it costs to make this product. So please remember, when you're looking at a lot of these products, you really have to take that into consideration. And any place you go to, if it's a quality retailer or a staff that knows their beans about what makes a good product, they can sit there and they can explain that to you. And that's what we really try to do here at Nutrition Direct. And that's actually what led us into developing our own line of products, is to address these issues we're seeing in the industry, to come out with products that do have proper doses, that do have the correct forms of those ingredients, and priced at a value where you can spend the same amount of money as you do on a C4 or any of these others, but actually get what you're paying for. And that's really been our whole business model and our whole focus, because supplements, it's all about people, and it's all about forming relationships with people. And if they're not getting results from the things that you're giving them, then they're not going to come back. They're not going to patronize us. Our integrity is in question. So that's the reason why we have our own product line. So these are just a few things to consider when you're looking at your pre-workouts. And typically I see more and more in the industry as a product line, whether it's C4 or some of the more popular brands, like on the proteins, you have Op Nutrition. They spend a lot of money on the marketing and advertising, so that has to get built into the cost of the product. So what does that mean? That means you got to use cheaper ingredients to help offset that. So again, that's something to consider when looking at these supplements. And if there's any question, Richie and I, we're always here, whether you hit us up on Facebook, any kind of social media. We always try to get back to people quickly. Or, the best thing to do is just stop in the store, because it really gives us a chance to really kind of get to know what your situation is and what's going on. That way we can kind of push you in the right direction. In addition to that, stay tuned. Stay tuned. We send out email blasts. Check for our email, no reply at nutritiondirect.org. That'll be us. Usually it's just letting you know the latest of what's going on, whether it's our new blog, sales, promotions, and also even better is to download our app for the Android and iPhone, Android at the Google Play Store, or at the App Store for iPhone. That, again, is probably the best way to stay in touch with us and also stay up to date with our new products, deals, and what's the latest going on with us.
Bottom line here, guys, know your products, do your research, know what you're buying. That way you're not throwing money away. And then, like Jason said, best way to stay in contact with us is through our app, Nutrition Direct, in both the Google Play Store and the Apple Store.
And be sure to check out our Facebook page. It's just Nutrition Direct, and our Morris store is Nutrition Direct-Morris. Again, feel free to like it and send us any questions or comments or anything you want to know. We really would love to hear back from you. Thanks.